going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. It's been a little bit since I posted up a video, and it's mostly because I've been busy with work, but you know, when things like that happen, I just go back to uploading like one video a week as opposed to 1, 2, or 3. You know, so no big deal. We'll get right back into it as I always do. What I wanted to do today was talk about some audiobooks I've been listening to and share those with you, because it's part of like a series that I've been doing where I was actually planning on uploading one video a month where I would share some audiobooks that you know, I really just like for different reasons. So I wanted to share those with you and hopefully open up your mind, expand your thoughts, and expand your wisdom, and maybe allow you to delve down deeper into these topics if they're of interest to you. So let's get right into it. And I'm going to annotate the previous videos I had done on the screen here. Also links in the description below to those. And those, I actually think I did like between 3 to 5 books in each of those videos that I recommended. If you've had to listen to those, let me know. Comment down below. I'm definitely interested. I know some people did message me or comment in other videos and let me know that they have liked those books. So, you know, I'm really pleased about that, and I'm really pleased that people are actually, you know, really like continuing to expand, continuing to grow mentally. You know, that's really the most important part of this whole sharing process, is why I make these videos, is because I want you to go out, I want you to say, what the hell is he talking about? Well, let me Google goggle this thing and then figure it out. So I'm glad you're doing that. Thank you very much. So let's get right into this, and I'm going to mention the first book, and that is actually written by Stuart Wilde, and it's called The Infinite Self, or it could also be called The 33 Steps to the Infinite Self. Really keeping this pretty straightforward. It's broken down into obviously 33 steps, and a lot of authors tend to do this because it helps guide the reader through the whole book. You know, they don't really get lost. They go, oh, where did I leave off? Okay, I was on step 22. So it helps that way, and you know, it really guides you through it. So this book in particular talks about obviously the me and the I, consciousness, your role in humanity, your infinite power, your eternal being. Stuart Wilde is a really interesting character, and he's made many, many audiobooks. So I've only mentioned the one here, but there's tons of others you can listen to. This is a great one to start out with. I think he actually wrote it in, don't get me wrong, I think it was like the early 90s. So, you know, it's decently old, but obviously not too old. But if you're interested in him, check out more of his audiobooks. This is definitely the one I would recommend starting out with, though. So, moving into number 2, and that's by Deepak Chopra. I listen to some Deepak. He's okay. I like the way he flows through his books. But this is actually called The Magical Mind and the Magical Body. What he actually talks about in this book is people's energy levels. Obviously, he talks about consciousness. He touches on that. The interesting part about this book is that he goes through the different body types which people may have, and the types of food and how they should manage their diet to maintain alkalinity within the body. So it more touches on health, I suppose. Not more, but it equally touches on health as it does on consciousness. So it's definitely a book I would recommend listening to or buying. All of the books that I'm talking about right now, I'm going to put the links in the description below to those. If you have to buy them, I'll put the links to the Amazon stores and whatnot. But for the most part, I think all of these are free, and you can either listen to them on YouTube or various other streaming sites. So again, links in the description below to all these books. So that's number 2, and that's by Deepak Chopra, and again, Magical Mind, Magical Body. So that's a really good read. Moving into number 3, and this is actually very similar to another book I've mentioned in the previous video, and this book is actually by Carlos Castaneda, and it's called The Teachings of Don Juan. This one's really interesting because it's a lot like The Alchemist. If you remember, I've mentioned that in a previous book, and The Alchemist was by Paulo Coelho. So you might as well check that out if you haven't done so. But The Teachings of Don Juan it's like a mythical tale, or like a story, which brings you along with the initiate, who's basically learning the ways of life and really about existence from a Mexican shaman. So this individual, this initiate, goes and travels down to Mexico, and he basically just learns from this character, Don Juan, which is the name that's been given to this Mexican shaman, who's very knowledgeable in what he discusses. So it's a really interesting book. It really takes you. It's a story. It's a story. So the first book I mentioned by Stuart Wilde is more like a lecture. So he more goes point by point, and it's obviously the 33 steps. Now, The Teachings of Don Juan, it's not so much like a lecture. It's kind of like just you follow it along like a story, and it's very sort of soft in how it guides you. And then when you actually hear the words of Don Juan, it kind of wraps you up in what's being said. Sometimes you might have to pause it and give some thought because it puts you on to different thought processes. So it's definitely a good read in that way, especially if you like those types of books. Personally, I do. And again, this author has plenty of different books of similar nature. So, but this is the one I would recommend starting out with, and it's actually pretty popular. So, link in the description below again, and that's number 3, The Teachings of Don Juan. One thing actually to note about this book is that it talks a lot about hallucinogenics and the use of peyote to achieve enlightenment and things like that. It doesn't necessarily say you have to use these things, but what it does is by using these hallucinogenics, it opens a doorway or gateway into further understandings. That's really all it kind of says. Personally, I don't say or condone having to use drugs or hallucinogenics in order to achieve enlightenment or in order to achieve a certain thought process or put you down a certain path. I think that can all be done naturally. But this is definitely an interesting take on it, so have a listen and check it out. So finally, let's move into number 4, and that is by William Walker Atkinson. And this book is actually called Thought Vibrations. And that's exactly what it sounds like. So really it talks a lot about how to manage your thought to increase your vibration. It talks a lot about polarity. I've mentioned that in a previous video as well, and the art of polarization. I'll put that link somewhere up on the screen. I'll annotate it down below. And basically it talks about how to manage your energy levels, how to manage your thoughts, control your thoughts, how to, when dealing with negativity or negative thoughts, it talks about this in a way that tells you not so much to pick apart the negativity, and I've mentioned this previously in other videos, but to rip up negativity by the root. So to cut it out entirely. Not to pick apart the thought. If you have a negative thought about something, don't try and analyze that. Just tell yourself, shut up, this thought is not resourceful to me, and it does not, or it destroys social union, is a way to put it. This thought is not of benefit to me, and I will do away with it immediately. And you're basically ripping up the negativity by the root. You're not even giving it the opportunity to exist. You're taking it and you're throwing it into the trash. You're replacing it with a positive thought. You're polarizing yourself on the positive end of the scale, and you're allowing yourself to transmute what once was negative into something that is positive, and you maintain that positivity. So Thought Vibrations is an interesting book, and it's very similar to Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and I've mentioned that in a previous video as well, and I think I've commented around YouTube, because I want people to read that book. Like that is a really good book, and this Thought Vibrations one is very similar to that. So that pretty much sums it up. That sums up all the books. I'm going to go through it one more time for you. Stuart Wilde's The Infinite Self, Deepak Chopra's Magical Mind, Magical Body, and Carlos Castaneda's The Teachings of Don Juan, and William Walker Atkinson, Thought Vibrations. 4 books. Check them out. I think they're going to do you a world of good. And if you'd like me to continue to post videos of the audiobooks I've been listening to and share those with you, let me know. I honestly have listened to like over 100 audiobooks or read as well a bunch of books over the past couple of years, and I just love sharing this stuff with you because I want you to grow, I want you to learn, and you're forever expansive. A lot of people don't quite realize this, but when you start to open yourself up to building this knowledge, building this wisdom, you slowly come to the realization that you are forever expansive. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you liked, share it with your friends, comment down below if you liked it again, and see you again next time. Take it easy.